Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan. And this time we've got a college football video for you. We're going to be talking about the Heisman Frontrunners, and even some people that are a little lower in the Heisman odds but could still make a push down the stretch of the college football season. Obviously, the Heisman Watch is something that goes on from September all the way to when the award is announced. So it's going to be an interesting journey between now and then. We're going to talk about some of these guys, who we like, who we don't, and who we think really has the best shot at this prestigious award.
Yeah, and it starts off with an interesting one. I'm just going to read the names quickly of the odds that I found right now. I don't know, Odd Shark is where I'm reading this off of, in case you're wondering. And then we'll start talking about them more specifically. But first, let me read them out in order. So, one down, I'll just keep reading. Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Kyle Trask, Zach Wilson, Devonta Smith, and then Najee Harris, Travis Etienne. I'll stop there for now.
Yeah, one guy you mentioned was Mac Jones, and he's really burst onto the scene. You know, there was doubt about whether, or not necessarily doubt, there was question, I should say, about who would be the starter at Alabama. There were some rumors that they could give it to freshman recruit Bryce Young. He's gotten some action late in games when they've been up, but other than that, this has been Mac Jones' team. He's done great, and you know, I'm not going to say that he's the next Joe Burrow yet, but he was a guy who was expected to just kind of be another guy at the start of the season. But now you see mock drafts, he's sneaking into the bottom of the first round in some of these. So he's definitely a guy to watch, and I think he deserves to be number one on that list right now.
Sorry, Jordan, but he excites me a lot. He's probably going to be one of my favorite quarterbacks once this season is over. Definitely, if he can keep up what he's doing, he's got a good shot to win the Heisman. But it's very similar, like you said, to Joe Burrow, and his talents are similar, which we could get into more as we get closer to the draft. But Jordan, I'll let you say what you want to say now.
Yeah, right now at this point through the season, Mac Jones has 2,197 yards with 16 touchdowns compared to only 2 interceptions. That's pretty good. And as Ryan said, this is a guy coming into the year. You didn't think he was going to do awful, but after watching Tua last year with this team, you just thought it was going to be different. And Mac, of course, stepped in last year with Tua's injury, and he played well. I'll give him that. And he is playing very, very well right now. Obviously, he's number one in the Heisman's right now because of stuff with Trevor Lawrence. We'll see how that all shakes out in the end, but I really like how Mac Jones has been playing, and I really like how this Alabama team has been playing. Right now, they're not at 1. It's very close with Alabama and Clemson.
2 points. People.
And I agree with this. I think Mac Jones right now should be at number 1. All this is subject to change, of course, but that's the stats as well throughout this video. But yeah.
The question about Alabama before we move on was the quarterback play going to be what it was before? We saw Jalen Hurts, then Tua took over for him. Yeah. So it was good quarterback play there for a while, and Mac Jones has really taken over, clearly because he's at number 1 with a good team around him. But since I know Alabama's a good team anyways, but he wasn't expected to do very much, and he's very much overachieved what he's been expected to do. So the next two on this list, both quarterbacks, there's more quarterbacks down as well, but these two were more obvious ones. We expected to see them on here, assuming they were going to play. Ohio State now playing because the Big Ten is back. Justin Fields is at number 2, and Trevor Lawrence at number 3, basically because he has COVID.
Yeah, honestly.
Well, I mean, it's not just basically because he has COVID, because you do have to give it to Justin Fields. We gave it to Mac Jones, and we're giving it to Justin Fields right now. Yes. He's only played 2 games so far, but his 2 games have been stellar. 594 yards, 6 touchdowns, 0 turnovers so far for Mr. Justin Fields. This is the guy coming into the year. You knew he was going to be good. You knew he was good last year, and so far he's gone over the big expectations that we already had for him with this Ohio State team. I love this Ohio State team, and I love Justin Fields. And even when Trevor Lawrence comes back, I look for Mac Jones and Justin Fields to be dancing in his area and possibly win this thing in the end.
Yeah, and it really is, 2 aspects you have to look at. One, what Justin Fields is doing, but also the fact that Trevor Lawrence is going to be 2 games. There's going to be 2 games where he's not going to see the field because of the unfortunate COVID situation. But with Justin Fields, you have to remember that just because he's higher in the Heisman odds, that doesn't mean that he's like overtaking Trevor Lawrence on draft boards. That's not how it works. The Heisman is who's the best player in college football. The draft is who's going to succeed the most in the NFL. Those are 2 different ball games. Not saying they're not close in, both situations, but I just want to clarify that so like people don't think that Justin Fields is QB1 now. I think that universally Trevor Lawrence is still the overwhelming favorite to be the number 1 pick in the draft. But Justin Fields has done great. I mean, he's a huge part of the reason why the Big Ten's even playing right now. You saw what he did with the petition and just the encouraging other athletes to step up and find a way to play, which they did, and he's taken advantage of it so far. Again, only 2 games, 6 touchdowns, no picks. Looked really good in that big win at Penn State. on Halloween night. So lots to like about him. And if he keeps playing like this, he could very well have Ohio State in the playoff and him right in the mix with that Heisman.
Yeah, no surprise from Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. I'm not trying to hate on Justin Fields when I said Trevor Lawrence would be above him if it wasn't for COVID. But even if Justin Fields does win this over Trevor Lawrence, that doesn't mean he's better, like you said. I mean, this plays a huge factor in it because Trevor Lawrence won't be playing. But also, Justin Fields didn't play at the beginning of the season when the ACC was playing, so it kind of evens the playing field a little bit.
Yeah, but with Lawrence, he's not just missing 2 games. One of those games he's missing is Clemson's biggest game of the year, at least of the regular season, at Notre Dame. I mean, that's a game. Notre Dame's ranked number 4 right now. Clemson just barely holding on to number 1, so that is really a huge game, and I think it's because it's a game of that magnitude that Trevor's missing. Like, this isn't a game against the Citadel or something that he's missing. This is a primetime Saturday night, nation's going to be watching, top 4 team on the road that he's missing.
Game's tomorrow, by the way. It's exciting.
Yeah.
If you're watching someday, it came out.
Should be interesting. I'm looking forward to that one. It stinks that Trevor can't be on the field. It's just something to factor that he's not just missing any game. It's their biggest game in the regular season. But I do think that Clemson will get another shot, whether they win or lose. I think Clemson and Notre Dame will meet again in the ACC championship.
There's a very good possibility of that happening, and regardless of what you think about Trevor Lawrence and his Heisman odds through this COVID stuff, he's still going to be a fantastic quarterback through this year. Read off his stats: 1,833 yards with 17 touchdowns already and 2 turnovers through the air. That is amazing from Trevor Lawrence. Of course, missing the 2 games going to put his stock down, but he's a phenomenal quarterback. Of course, he's got great weapons around him too, but his team's looking great. We'll see if they can hold on against Notre Dame this weekend. That should be fun. It would be more fun if Trevor Lawrence was there, but either way, we'll have to watch it, and hopefully things will go well for Clemson, or if you're a Notre Dame fan like me, then for Notre Dame. Next one, it's another quarterback who is at number 4 in this rankings that we found. It's Kyle Trask, and his team, or specifically his offense, has been playing phenomenal so far.
They have. I mean, it's slowed down recently, but especially at the beginning of the season, it was really good. Kyle Trask he's not a guy where I go, wow, watch out for him in the NFL right now, at least. I know he's high up in these rankings in terms of the Heisman betting odds, but to me, he's not in the tier that these other guys are, and even the guy we're going to talk about next is, but still a good quarterback nonetheless.
Yeah, he is, and with that Florida team and Kyle Trask, you watched them last year and you saw a lot of good things, but can they take that next step? Can they beat Georgia, which we'll find out tomorrow? Can they get to the SEC championship game? Can they get to the playoff? If Kyle Trask can elevate this Florida team to the next level, and a level that they've been trying to get at and failing to get at for so long, then you got to put him in that consideration at least. I'm not saying he's going to win it, not necessarily going to be the favorite, but you got to at least think about it. I know he's got a great weapon in Kyle Pitts. But there's
K-squared down there in
Florida.
Both
Kyles are contributing heavily, and honestly, I think Kyle Trask, we've seen some improvement from last year for sure. He's looking more comfortable in the pocket. He's just looking like a better quarterback, more experienced overall, which makes sense. So yeah, definitely, I think he's a name to watch. He's not quite up there in the Mac Jones, Justin Fields area, Trevor Lawrence area. I don't think yet, as far as Heisman odds, but I think if he takes this Florida team over the hump, it's definitely possible, and we'll know a lot more about Kyle Trask's Heisman, probability after the Georgia game, I feel like.
Yeah, I just want to read off his stats real quickly. 1,341 yards. This is the big one. 18 touchdowns, and his team has only played 4 games because of COVID stuff.
I think they had a Pitts.
Yeah, probably half of them are to Pitts. I don't have Pitts stats.
The first game
here,
he had 8 touchdowns.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I'm watching something on ESPN right now, and there was just a touchdown from Kyle Pitts on there. I mean, I'm sure it's going to pop up 5 more times while I'm talking here because he just catches that many. But a lot of touchdown passes. He's really progressed, as Ryan said, and he's a name that he's probably not going to win it, but he deserves to be up there with how his offense and he has been playing so far and how he's progressed from last season.
Great statistics and a rising star right now in college football is Kyle Trask. Another one of these, which no one really expected to see on the top of the Heisman betting odds right now, is Zach Wilson from BYU.
Jordan loves Zach Wilson, right?
Jordan's had some things. I mean, he just personally doesn't seem to I don't know what it is about Zach Wilson.
I've honestly never watched them before.
It's not the play apparently to Jordan.
I can't see by
I know. I know Jordan has the stats, and yeah, it's tough to watch BYU. Excuse me.
They always got 9.
Yeah, because all the games are so late. But from what I've seen of the highlights of it, it's not like BYU is a much better team overall, although, I mean, they're a lot higher in the ranking.
Yeah.
I think Zach Wilson has stepped up. The roster hasn't changed very much, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson's skill has improved more and more. Another one where I get a little iffy throwing him in the conversation with Mac Jones, Justin Fields, and Trevor Lawrence, but definitely creaking his way up there.
Yeah, he is, and he's done great. The stats look great. That the scoreboards for their games look great. They've got the style points, but they haven't really played. I don't think they have played a Power 5 team. They had not played a Power 5 team.
They're playing Boise State this week, so that'll be somewhat of a test.
Yeah, they play Boise State today. So I think that that's still not a Power 5 team, but at least a team that is ranked as of right now in the AP poll, and definitely their biggest test of the year. So I mean, if he keeps winning and keeps dominating, I mean, there's the idea of will a group of 5 team make the college football playoff, which I think you got to win out and then get some help, but we'll see. That's not what this video is really about. We can talk about that later. But then for the Heisman, I mean, I don't know how much they're going to factor in level of competition, because is the Heisman just about style points and stats and, you make it look cool and, give your team opportunities to win, or will they factor in, wait a minute, you're playing Texas State and Western Kentucky?
I think they have to factor
I know, but I don't know if it's going to be as much as, say, like the playoff committee would for the BYU team.
It's probably not as much,
no,
but
I
I feel like it's
so.
definitely still a big factor.
Yeah, but Zach Wilson...
At least that's how I would judge it.
The Heisman is huge on style points, and that helps when you play bad teams.
Yeah.
But you also have to be up in the rankings with your football team, and that helps, obviously, quarterbacks like Mac Jones, Justin Fields, and Trevor Lawrence more.
Mm-hmm. And a stat I wanted to mention from Zach Wilson was last year in 2019, he attempted 319 pass attempts, had 11 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. This year, he's only attempted 193 compared to 319 was last year. He has 19 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. That's much better. That's big progression. We were talking about Kyle Trask's progression. Zach Wilson has played much, much better this year. And he's deservingly put himself up here, regardless of the teams that he's played. The stats are there. He's had those style of points, and he's in this video. So, hey, you've done something good when you're on the touchdown table, Zach.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and as we get further down this list, we'll talk about them for less and less time. But we got 3 non-quarterbacks in a row here on the betting odds. I'll list them off right now that we could talk about each of them, with Devonta Smith, Najee Harris, and then Travis Etienne. Starting with Devonta Smith, he's had to step up since Jalen Waddle went out. And he's really done that in a big way, helping out Alabama a lot in terms of the receiving game. And I didn't think he was going to continue to do what he was doing without Jalen Waddle on the other side, but honestly, it's looking a little bit better.
I mean, last year I loved watching Devonta Smith play. He was just absolutely phenomenal. It's Devonta Smith, right? I think it's
Devonta or Devontae. I still don't know.
Yeah, I've heard both.
Yeah. Devonta Freeman gets me messed up with it. But anyways, so I really loved watching him play last year at Alabama. And when watching Alabama last year, you saw Jerry Jeudy, you saw Henry Ruggs, 2 guys who are doing very good in the NFL right now. But Devonta Smith was right there next to them, playing some great football. So many phenomenal catches. This dude is such an athlete. You see that speed from Henry Ruggs last year. You saw that route running from Jerry Jeudy last year. But something I really like from Devonta Smith was he makes great catches. And he's just a very athletic guy. He can do a lot of things. That's what I really like from him. 759 yards so far this season, and 8 touchdowns already. He's only played 6 games. So very, very good for Devonta Smith. And only, as I said, only through 6 games. I think I said that. So good start for a Smith. And, of course, he's got Mac Jones, who's playing great right now. But you don't see wide receivers up here as much. Next 2 are not wide receivers, but hey, he's played good so far and he deserves to be talked about.
Yep, for sure. I mean, he's had to step up with the injury to Waddle, and he has. So he'll at least be, in the bottom, maybe 10th-ish in these odds.
He's got to keep playing really well.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to imagine it going to a non-quarterback, but it could happen.
I mean, running backs we've seen before, and speaking of the next 2 are running backs, Najee Harris and Travis Etienne. I'll kind of group them together, although they're very different types of running backs and what they do, but I'm just grouping them because they're running backs, and we got a lot more people to talk about. But both of these guys, clearly, what we saw last year, we expected to see this year, both playing very well for their teams both doing very well. Like I said, they're very different, though. Devonta Smith is more of, or not Devonta Smith, sorry, excuse me, Najee Harris is more of a pound up the middle Derrick Henry type of guy, and Travis Etienne can do that too, but he also
he's like a snake.
He's like a spring, I think I called him last year when I was watching him, because he could bounce to the outside, spin off tackles, break him. So
I prefer soap, but
I mean, whatever you want to say, something I don't know. But both very good and deserve to be on this list, simply.
Mm-hmm. I'd say, basically, if you don't watch college football, I'd say Najee Harris is Derrick Henry and Travis Etienne is Alvin Kamara. That's really the best kind of pro comparisons that I've had for them.
Yeah, that's
similar colors. Alvin Kamara with Tennessee. And then, And then Najee Harris and Derrick Henry both being in Alabama, so same colors.
That's cool. So those are my early pro comparisons for those two. But you'll hear more about that as we get closer to the draft.
Just something I wanted to mention before we move on to the next guys. Both of these guys were eligible to go into the draft last year, chose not to, and now they can go in. It looks like their stock is going to be up there, so good for these guys for waiting out another year, and we'll probably see them go somewhere in the first round. That's my prediction. It's early, but and they're both playing very, very good so far.
So that was the top 8. I'm just going to list them off, the rest of them that are on this list from what I can see. And then if you guys want to talk about one of you can. But otherwise, we'll just end it there. But at 9 is Derek King. Is it Derek? I don't know.
I think it's Derek.
Oh, it's Derek? I thought it was
I've heard people say Derek, but I'm not sure. Oh.
King, Kellen Mond, Chuba Hubbard, another running back. David Bell, which is a surprise, the wide receiver out of Purdue. He's playing really well. And then Sam Ellinger are the ones on my list.
Probably Sam is there.
Yeah, I don't know about Sam. Don't they have 2 losses already?
I mean, he's playing all right, though.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he kept them in the game with Oklahoma for sure, and he brought them back against Texas Tech. They've been in some high-scoring games, so, I mean, I guess, but,
Yeah.
We'll see.
And I was surprised to see David Bell on here, although he's playing well. The sophomore wide receiver out of Purdue. Yeah. It's really cool to see these young guys and a wide receiver like this get on here so early. I know it's not like a top school.
Where's the defense
nation,
on this list?
But very impressive to see him on here. So he's got a bright future ahead of him, it looks like. So all these guys really do.
And one guy I just want to talk about is Kellen Mond from Texas A&M. That's another situation where I feel like if they keep winning,
I don't think they will, but
they're going to have opportunities. Because remember, say Florida beats Georgia tomorrow, then Florida has 1 loss and Texas A&M has 1 loss, but Georgia has 2. So then everything goes as planned. Say Texas A&M and Florida both win out, both have 1 loss. Texas A&M would get, that leg up. So I think that's going to be kind of interesting to see in the standings. How far can Kellen Mond take them? Because like I mentioned with Florida, they are another team where they had a lot of marquee opponents on their schedule last year. Could not get that win. Lost to LSU, lost to Alabama, lost to Auburn. Lost to
Clemson. They were close in most of those games.
I mean, they were close, but I mean, the question was, could they...
You got to get those wins.
Yeah, could they get 1? Could they get over the top? And we saw them beat Florida. They came back. They won that game 48 to... I don't know, it wasn't Florida. It was 41 to 38 over a Florida team that obviously is really good. So how far can Kellen Mond take these guys? We'll see. We will find out. I mean... They've got some tough games left, but, I mean, they have 1 loss. Obviously, they're in the toughest conference in football right now, but I think when you look at the SEC kind of picture...
It's not just right now. It's basically just in general.
I mean, they're in the SEC West, so, I mean, they're probably not going to make the SEC Championship unless Bama loses a bunch, but, yeah, bright future ahead. We'll see how far they can take, or Kellen Mond can take them. So, yeah, just that one guy I wanted to mention.
So, just to recap, I'll go through the odds that I have on here one more time. Once again, oddshark.com is where I'm getting this. All this is probably going to change tomorrow, but as this video comes out, these are the odds. Mac Jones at 1, Justin Fields 2, Trevor Lawrence 3, Kyle Trask 4, Zach Wilson 5, Devonta Smith 6, Najee Harris 7, Travis Etienne 8, Derek King 9, Kellen Mond 10, Chuba Hubbard 11, David Bell 12, Sam Ellinger 13. I believe I didn't miss anyone and got the numbers correctly. So there it is, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell to be notified every time we post a video. Comment your opinions about the betting odds or your favorites right now. Let us know who you think is going to win the Heisman. We'd love to see that. And with all that, we will see you guys later.
See ya.